The first couple of months when I hit my first big client, I was really anxious because it was new to me being responsible for 100 of thousands of euros per month in terms of spend.
Yeah.
And I felt so responsible for allocating and spending those budgets.
Yeah.
And right now, it feels like the same as an account that is doing 1,000 euros per month in terms of spend.
All right, GM everybody, welcome back to the PPC Mastery Podcast. This one is a little bit different if you're watching on YouTube. We're not together in the office today, but luckily for us, there's a lot of tech out there that can help us record this online. So in today's episode, we are going to talk about a question that we got from Thomas Eccel. So Thomas, thanks for your question. We have a podcast page on our website now, ppcmastery.com/podcast. where you can find a link where you can ask questions. So if you have a question for us, some podcasts we will try to answer some of them. And today we're going to be talking about a question from Thomas Eccel, and he asked, how do you cope with the typical campaign performance stress? What impact has, in your opinion, a sane mental health state for the campaign performance? So in other words, what do we do to maintain good mental health? How do we cope and deal with stress in PPC? Because I do think that PPC is a challenging and stressful landscape, wouldn't you say so? To work in?
It could be stressful. So if you're sensitive to these kinds of stress levels, then I think PPC can be a stressful job. Yeah. Especially if you're running high budgets and have a lot of stakeholders that you're responsible for.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, let's just dissect that.
Yeah, so let me ask you the first question, Miles. So let's begin with how your freelancing days look like. So you have done full-time freelancing in the past. Right now, your week is somewhat split between freelancing for clients and working for PPC Mastery, of course, to build kick-ass knowledge products. But how did your full-time freelance week look like a couple of months ago? So can you tell me a little bit more about that? And
yeah, absolutely.
What kind of day-to-day tasks and responsibilities did you have as a Google Ads specialist?
Yeah. So yeah, as you said, now my week is a little bit different because for the majority of my week, let's say 80% or so, I'm focused on PPC Mastery, and then 20% for working for freelance clients. But when I was still working full-time at agency and also full-time freelancing, my entire day was structured around working for my clients. So I usually split my days up in my morning sessions, my morning deep work session. And in this morning session, I found out for myself that in the morning I have really good focus, I have high energy, and if I can work undistracted on a few tasks, then I can get a lot done in the first few hours of my day. But when I was working at an agency, I had calls in the morning and other people were sort of dictating my work week. And that's not only because I worked at an agency, that's not necessarily their fault, but it was also because I was starting out and I just wasn't proactive with my week. So what then happened was, maybe to jump ahead a little bit, in the morning, I was working for a really big client, and on Monday morning we had to deliver a report for the last week. So that was like, I think around 10 in the morning, we had to deliver this report. Yeah, all together with
what an amazing thing to start off the week with.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I would recommend now not to do. Like, do a report that needs to be done on Monday morning. That's crazy, because then we were all set up for stress already instantly, because always something goes wrong, or you need a little bit of extra time, or maybe you woke up and you just didn't feel like it today and you need a few hours to get going. I mean, it's after the weekend after all. So that really taught me, like, okay, if I'm working for myself, then I want to have a bit more structure and control in my day in how I work. So now in the mornings, I tend to do a lot of deep work on bigger tasks and analysis and things that I need to use my brain for. And then I have the afternoons in which I do more like calls and easy tasks and smaller optimizations, those kinds of things. And then I use the mornings to really focus on the bigger tasks that I have for my clients. So whatever that is, it depends per client. But let's say we need to restructure an entire account. That usually takes a lot of focus and deep work, because you need to be thinking about, okay, how do we structure the campaigns, the ad groups, the keywords, etc. And this is then something that I would typically do in the morning, whereas in the afternoon, I will just maybe like go through the search term reports, those kinds of like smaller optimizations. And then in between, I have break where I go to the gym and I have lunch. So usually my break is around 2 hours. I know everybody that is working, not as a freelancer, but working in-house or an agency or something. I know that this is sometimes maybe a little bit tricky and harder to do, but if you can work remotely on the days that you work from home, maybe it's a bit easier to do these kinds of things. But I noticed that for me, working out in between my work shifts, so to speak, has really helped me, maintain my focus throughout the day. Because I noticed that after the morning session, then my brain is fried because I've done so much of the deep work, which uses a lot of my brain capacity. Then I go to the gym and I'm sort of recharged instantly, and then I have energy again to go back at it in the afternoon.
How did you find out about your optimal daily routine? Because this is something that is completely different for every single person. Some people like to do deep work in the afternoon or even in the evenings. So how did you find out what your ideal day looks like?
Yeah, that was a lot of trial and error, just trying. I used a lot of productivity sort of tools and frameworks and plannings, and nothing really stuck in the end. And now I know that, okay, after trying so many different things, I just noticed that, okay, in the morning I'm mostly productive, and I'm not a morning person at all. So it's kind of weird for me, but I do notice that my brain is still at max capacity in the morning because I haven't checked my phone yet. I haven't seen social media. I haven't seen anything from anybody else yet. So that helps. But naturally, I am a night owl, an evening person. So,
and that's when you're doing no work at all, right? Because during the evenings you are chilling with your girlfriend and maybe play some games.
Exactly.
Family time, right?
Yeah, because if I work in the evenings, sometimes I do if we have like a deadline coming up or something that I want to get finished. Mm-hmm. But generally I don't do it because then I don't sleep well. And this is something that I want to share something about as well as we go through this podcast. But I think living a healthy lifestyle is really important if you work in PPC, because then naturally you are much more able to deal with the stress that comes your way. So if you eat healthy, sleep well, and I know that if I work until late at night, then my head is just spinning of all the input and all the ideas, and then it's really hard for me to fall asleep. And then if my sleep is not good, then the next morning I cannot wake up because it's already hard for me to wake up, not being a morning person, and then it's just a downward spiral.
Yeah, so that brings me to the second question, because we all have emotional issues, I think, to some degree.
Of course.
And, well, it can be quite challenging for us as Google Ads specialists to handle all of the pressure of managing the Google Ads campaigns, especially when you have clients or stakeholders with a lot of high expectations. So how do you handle the emotional ups and downs that come with campaigns performing above or below expectations? Can you share a little bit more about that you did already? But
absolutely. Yeah. I think this comes with experience. Like, you need to go through it in order to build up systems to be able to deal with it. I think if you have someone that is starting out in PPC or in the work field in general, you need to go through it and you need to experience those stressors, and you need to know, okay, this works for me, this doesn't work for me. For me personally, I know that I don't like too many calls in my week, but when I was not freelancing yet, then I had no say in that at all. So then I knew, okay, this is something that I want to change as I move towards freelancing. And it's coming from experience. Also, the example that I gave with the report on Monday morning. Now I know that if a client asks me for that, then I will push it back and I say, no, is it also okay if we deliver on Monday afternoon or Tuesday or whatever it is? But I wasn't able to do that when I was working or when I was just starting out, because I didn't build up that strength yet in myself to say no, to dare to say no. And I just think it comes with experience. That's one side. I think then on the other hand, as I said, like, live a healthy lifestyle outside of work, because then you are much more effective at dealing with the stressors. So as I said, eat well, sleep well, train well. All of this helps in not taking everything too seriously.
Yeah, and a lot comes with experience as well, right? Because I still know the moments when I started to become responsible for a lot of big monthly budgets that went through my fingers basically.
Yeah.
So the first couple of months when I hit my first big client, I was really, really, really anxious because it was new to me being responsible for 100 of thousands of euros per month in terms of spend.
Yeah.
And I felt so responsible for allocating and spending those budgets.
Yeah.
And right now, it feels like the same as an account that is doing 1,000 euros per month in terms of spend, because basically, in essence, it doesn't really matter because it's still data. Of course, it's still a lot of spend that you have to take care of and that you're responsible for. But during the years and during the years of experience, you start to become less anxious around those kinds of things. Is that something that you experienced as well? That you cannot really train for, but it just comes by doing performing the work.
Yeah, and I think you can always follow like mental frameworks in order to reduce stress and all those things. Like you can meditate, and there's a lot of things that you can do to mitigate the stress levels. But I agree with you. A lot of it comes from experience, and you just need to go through it in order to build it up. It's just like when you go to the gym, when you go on day one, you can probably you recently told me you went back into the gym and you couldn't move your arm like at all, right?
No.
And now a few weeks later, it's easier for you to do those reps, and then your body builds up the strength to be able to deal with the stress from the gym.
Yeah,
and it's kind of the same with work.
I felt like one big bruise. The next day I was like, what's happening? And then I came back the second time to the gym and I saw this guy hanging out next to me lifting the 40 kilogram dumbbells, and I was like, I cannot even move them from the from the from the
racks.
Yeah, from the racks. Thank you.
Yeah,
it's the same applies to Google Ads.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you have to do it over and over again until it becomes normal and just a way of life in essence.
Yeah.
So when doing the work, Miles, because you've been freelancing for quite a while right now, I think that you have endured high levels of stress during the same amount of time. Did you ever felt like you were burning out or almost burning out? And what were the signs or moments when you realized you were approaching a burnout or feeling overly stressed? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm curious to hear your perspective as well. But I don't know if I have reached the limit of almost burning out, but I've seen it happen around me a lot. And that's why I was always conscious of that. I don't want to get a burnout, because if you really get a burnout, like, there's different levels to it, there's like at first you feel a little bit of stress, and then as it builds up, then you get overworked, and then the end stage is sort of the burnout where you just can't handle anything anymore. And I've seen that in my family, my friends, co-workers. And if you get a really tough burnout, then you can be out of it for a year plus if it's really bad. And I actually looked up the definition for burnout. It's from MD Health or something like that. Burnout is a special type of work-related stress, a state of physical or emotional exhaustion that also involves a sense of reduced accomplishment and loss of personal identity. Whatever the cause, burnout can affect your physical and mental health. And I've seen cases of people where it was just too much, they couldn't get out of bed, and you tried to give them advice like, just go on a walk, go to the gym, but nothing works. And I always wanted to prevent that as much as possible. But I definitely have had moments where I've felt the stress building up, and it was usually when you reach like a state of when you're moving towards burnout. It's usually when there's too many things going on all at once at the same time. So work stress, and then stress at home, maybe your relationship, you have some issues, or maybe something's going on in family. Like those things, they build up on each other. Actually, my old manager at my agency job, he switched jobs, he moved, and then he got a kid all in like 3 months or so. Yeah, and then burnt out, and hadn't seen him in a long time by then. So that's something that I always want to prevent. What about you?
How did you prevent burning out?
Yeah, so I usually I'm really good at observing other people and then backtracking. Okay, what went wrong or what went well for these people, and what can I learn and implement from that? And I just noticed that there's a lot of different reasons for burnout. I also looked that up. Like Reclaim.ai also has a definition, and there's some of my own experience in here as well. I will mention a few. Like for example, long work days, poor management, like having a bad manager. People say, there's a saying that goes, people don't quit jobs, they quit their manager, where you have just poor management, not thinking with you, not caring about your development, not getting paid enough, lack of work-life balance, having too many meetings. That's definitely a big one for me. Not taking enough time off. I see that in the US a lot. Like, it's crazy. They have like 10 vacation days per year or so, and then it's sometimes insane. It's crazy. Yeah. And sick days you have to pay, and it's crazy stuff. You might have too many things to respond to, poor working conditions, overwhelmed by pressure to perform. So a lot of these things I can relate to these, and then I just see, okay, if I already know that I get stressed from having too many meetings in my week or after consecutively on a day, then I will just try and, okay, how can I reduce the amount of meetings, and how can I reduce the things that cause me stress? And then on the flip side, also do a lot of things that actually bring me joy. And this is, I think, when it comes to burnout, people often talk about, okay, you should do less of this or take away this stressor. But if you do something that you 100% enjoy doing, like we do with PPC Mastery now, then you just want to go for it like 110% every single day. And that can also burn you out, because you might be sprinting too long too fast for too long. But generally speaking, if you do something that you really enjoy, then it's harder to get burnt out. And that's what I notice now in my business, especially when I went freelancing. I instantly felt a lot of the stress like falling away already. And then now with PPC Mastery, it's even on another level.
It sparks joy.
Yeah, for sure, man. Absolutely. And what about you? Have you had those moments where you were getting close to maybe burning out?
Yeah. I haven't. Luckily, I haven't burned out once, and I tried to keep that like that. But it definitely felt like I was burning out a couple of moments in the past few years. So basically, when I feel like I'm burning out, my body is giving me signs. Yeah. So I really start to have problems with my shoulders and with my neck. They all get stuck. Yeah. So when I wake up and when I go for a walk during the days, then when my neck is starting to hurt and it becomes really stiff, then I know, hey, something is going on, because all of the stress that builds up in my body basically consolidates around my shoulders and my neck. So that's the first sign that I have too much stress going on. And then I obviously try to look for the source. So where does it come from? And a lot of times it is work related. So what I've done in the past is to keep three main pillars in balance. That's the way how I look at things. So I have my work pillar, I have my family and friends pillar, and I have my health pillar. And basically you cannot have it all. I personally find it even difficult to keep two of these three pillars in balance at the same time. But right now, I finally found the balance to work on all of the three combined.
And how
but
so?
A few years back,
I
really went all in on work, and I really had to drop off the two pillars, family, friends, and health related stuff. So I didn't work out. I didn't really move during the day. I didn't spend enough time at family and friends. I was always working, always busy. And that was essentially how I didn't burn out, because if I were to add up friends and family and the health factor, and I wanted to combine that with work, I was definitely going to burn out, because I was so focused on work. I was so focused on, performing, making money, making my clients happy, that I really didn't have time to work on the other things.
Yeah. And now I know you, in the last month or so, I've noticed a big shift for you. You also investing more in your health. Where did that come from now? Because as you mentioned, you cannot have all of them. Time.
Time. Yeah. So I locked myself up during the full-time freelance period, where I essentially worked 50, 60 hours a week, maybe even more. Yeah. So I didn't really had the time to spend my time on other pillars or categories, so to say. But since we shifted our focus towards PPC Mastery, we're both able to say goodbye to a couple of freelance clients, right? So right now I have drastically decreased the amount of freelance work that I currently do. I only work for the biggest clients that give me a lot of freedom and really want to keep me on board, where I can do whatever I want to bring the accounts to a higher level. So it's really fun to work on those accounts. Mm-hmm. And basically by saying goodbye to a lot of clients, I freed up a lot of free time to spend on PPC Mastery. And we're still working hard. We're still delivering products, but it is a different way of working. So we are really our own stakeholders, so to say. So we are responsible for the own products that we are currently delivering and the quality and the speed that we want to create the products for. And you do not longer have like stakeholders that are expecting a lot of things from you, expecting you to be there every single Wednesday for a video call, or expecting you to have a fully worked out optimization roadmap, and that times 15 or times 20 the amount of clients you have. So that basically enables me to free up a lot of time to spend on the other two pillars as well: health, family, and friends. So right now, I'm really starting to work on myself again, and I haven't been doing that for 5+ years because I was so deep in work.
Do you notice any differences now that you also invest in those other pillars?
Yes, I experience way more rest. So if you do what you like most, if you keep your work week in check, the amount of hours you have to work in check, you really start to experience a lot of relief and a lot of rest, so to say. I do not feel stressed at all, unless we have a big deadline coming up and we have to push ourselves in order to finalize the last couple of details inside of the products. But during the work week, I feel like the calmest I've ever been.
Yes.
And I have time to think about work-related stuff, think about family-related stuff, invest my time more heavily in friends, relationships that I really enjoy spending time for. I have the time to go to the gym every single day now that I haven't been doing for 5 years at all. So I feel like a new person.
Yeah, that's
already.
Nice,
Already, I think it will become even better in the near future.
I would even say that investing in your health is probably the most important thing out of those three pillars, because everything falls or stands and falls with your health, with the level of your health. So I notice it for myself. If I go to the gym now every day as well, and sometimes I mix it up, go for a run if I'm really sore or I need some rest, and I might take a rest day, of course. But generally speaking, now if I don't go for 3 days in a row or so, my focus is instantly down, my energy is down, my excitement to get to work is down. So eating healthy, working out, sleeping well, those are the key ingredients to at least like have the energy to do what you need to be doing. And there's a quote, I got it from Brendon Burchard. He said, your body is like a power plant, and in terms of energy. So a power plant doesn't have energy, it generates energy. So if you have something that generates electricity, it builds up the power because it is actually generating. It's not like the energy is stored inside. It's because it's moving, it's getting the energy. And it's the same with your body. Like the more that you move it, the more you train it to be active, the more energy that you have at the end of the day. And now some people might think this is crazy, but I woke up at 6:15, went for a little walk, and then boom, 6:45 I was already working, and deep work, focused work. Now we are recording these podcasts. After this I will go to the gym, and then I have my afternoon block of work, and then around 5 or so it's done. And I had a really productive day where I was feeling the energy, I was feeling productive, I was feeling proactive because I'm doing the things that I want to be doing. And then at the end of the day, it's really hard to feel stressed because you've already done so much. Yeah, you won the day, exactly. And I think that's really important if you talk about stressing PPC. Like of course, we have the clients that we're dealing with, and I wrote it just down, keyword. You said, yeah, some clients, they expect a report, they expect a big roadmap, blah, blah, blah. But it's also how you manage those expectations. And sometimes the client says, yeah, we need it tomorrow. And then you just ask them, okay, but why? Or is it also okay if we do it next week or in 2 days, 3 days? And often they will just say, yeah, okay, it's fine. Like they will just demand things of you, and then you push it back a little bit, and then it's okay. Or the worst that can happen is they say, yeah, we need this report tomorrow. And then you send it, and then crickets, you don't hear anything. And then 1 week later, you ask them, and they haven't even checked it yet. So always push
terrible.
Back on those.
And you moved your meetings for the day, and you didn't hang out with your family or girlfriend that evening.
And you're
you
stressed.
Felt like shit. Yeah, you're stressed. Yeah, that's terrible. So we will do a separate episode about how to prioritize work and how to communicate this with clients. So that could be interesting to zoom in on that particular part as well, because it's all about prioritization and communicating this with your stakeholders. And I had to learn this the hard way myself.
But that's just the experience.
That's the experience you need. So Miles, as a freelancer or in-house specialist, how do you set boundaries with clients or colleagues to ensure that you have the personal time and space that you need to win the day, to spend time with your girlfriend, to spend time with your family, to think about yourself? So can you give me a little bit more information about how you set boundaries yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So the first boundary that I actually set for myself is that I don't want to work with people that I don't enjoy working with. And that's a luxury that we can afford ourselves with freelancing, especially in this market. Still, the market is still good for freelancers. I decide if I meet someone for the first time and they request an audit or they want to work with me, then the first thing that I will check is just the energy from this person. Like, do they have positive vibes? That's kind of already the first boundary that I set, because if I don't focus on that, then and I just say, okay, no, it pays well, generates a lot of revenue for me, but I then know that in the end maybe it's going to be way too stressful. It's just not going to be good. So that's the first check that I do already. Like, okay, if I'm feeling that the energy is off, is bad vibes, then I'm not gonna do it, because now I think
that's the most important one of all of the ones that you're going to mention. I think that is definitely the most important one.
Yes,
because I have had clients that brought in a lot of cash, a lot of monthly revenue, a couple of €1,000 a month, but some of them were horrible to work with. They didn't give you a sense of trust. You had to explain everything within really depth or really detailed before they were going to trust you with the proposals you were doing. So if you do not vibe with your stakeholders, could be a client, could be a manager, I think you're in for a bad time.
For sure.
So it can bring in loads of money, but if you have to work for toxic people, so to say, or people that you do not vibe with, I think that's a red flag. You have to stay away.
For sure. And you can gauge that by checking, okay, are our values aligned personally, but also in work, but also how they treat their coworkers. So if you are on a call with the business owner or with the manager and they just treat their staff like shit, I've seen that. And now that I say that, it's like, nobody does that first time you meet someone, but you will actually notice by the way that they will treat other people, that's ultimately how they're going to treat you as well. So be careful with that.
A quote from Alex Hormozy: look at the way how people treat service workers in order to see what kind of people they are. So if they're shitty towards waiters or cleaners, whatever, then you can instantly tell what kind of person it is.
True, man. Because everybody, because everybody deserves the respect, no matter what you do. It doesn't matter. Then the next one is saying no often, not only to business, but also when you're working with someone. Train yourself to say no often. And I think I've gotten pretty good at this now. Like my default reaction to everything is no. And then I think again, and okay, if I can sell it to myself, if I see that the idea is good or it needs to happen, then I will do it. But now, like in for PPC Mastery, for example, we're getting a lot of requests from people that want to work with us, they want to partner with us. And I'm just saying no to everything right now because we're so focused on building the PPC hub and building our products that it's all just a distraction. But also in freelance business, when I work with my clients and they ask for something and I think it's generally not a good idea, then I will just say no and then direct them towards another solution. I rarely just say no, I'm not going to do it. I will always explain like no, and I think this is why we shouldn't do it, or this is why we should prioritize something else.
Toxic.
Yeah, I'm toxic YouTuber. Yeah, I'm toxic freelancer. No, but I think saying no also can give you a lot of respect, because if you say yes to everything, you become a pleaser and people will walk over you. And if you say no, then people will respect your boundaries. And because also, here's an example, and this one gets me fired up, is when I was working at agency, I had a client, and it was actually this wild story. This is a client that was really, really, really demanding. And I think I was working there for 1 year, so I wasn't experienced yet, and I didn't really know how to deal with these things yet. I was really junior. And I had my vacation. I think I was going to Bali, and it was Friday, and it was my last work day before my holiday, and I think we were flying on Sunday. And on Friday, I did all my handovers to the client and said, okay, this colleague is going to take over, yada, yada, yada. And I heard nothing from the client, like the entire week. I was emailing, calling, nothing. And then on Friday afternoon, something happened in the account, but it was like 5 or 5:30. But I already emailed, okay, I'm logging off now. I'm done because I had the Friday afternoon off, and now it's my holiday for 3 weeks, and I'll see you later. This is the person that you need to go to. And then this client was calling me, so I picked up. I said, no, I'm sorry, I'm on vacation now. I don't have my laptop.
You had your personal number.
Yes, yeah, personal number.
How?
Yeah, because we didn't have work phones. So.
Wow.
Yeah, that's fucked up already.
Oh, that's terrible.
But it's getting worse. So then I just directed it to my colleague, and then, okay, have a nice holiday, blah, blah, blah. Then that Friday evening, I was going out to a club, to a party. And it was 2:30 in the morning. And then my client sent me a WhatsApp message like, we need to fix this now. It was 2:30 in the morning on Friday night. And then I blocked... Yeah, and it was also my holiday, and Friday afternoon 2:30. What the fuck? Or Friday night, and then I blocked the number until I came back from my holiday, because I was like, I don't want this to ruin my nice holiday with my girlfriend. And then after I came back, then no problems. It just took over the account again, and there was just one of those typical clients that is just, I need this now, and blah blah blah, blah. And that's the worst. So you need to be careful with those things.
Terrible. So how do you train your clients in order to prevent this from happening now?
Yeah. Well, definitely open the conversation about when you are available for them. And I'm never strict at all with my clients that I work with now. Also, I tell them all the time, if there's something on the weekend, of course I will help. If there's something in the evenings, of course I will jump in if it's necessary. But if it's not like really burning and it needs, if it's not urgent and doesn't need attention right now, then we can also do it tomorrow in the regular work hours. It can wait. So that's something that you need to communicate to your client, like regularly. If they do call you outside of the hours that you have said that you are available, tell them and why. Oh no, I'm not working right now. I'm with my family. I'm with my kid. I see this often, and this is something that I would never want. Is if I have a kid and I'm on my daddy day and I'm out with my kid and I get a call from a client, then I'm not gonna take that call. I will tell them, I'm with my kid right now, we'll call you back tomorrow. But I see it so many times, like people, they're slave to their clients basically, and they say, okay, I will do whatever you say. But if you tell them, I'm with my kid right now, let's figure it out tomorrow or later at night whatever, then it's usually fine. But if you don't tell them, then they will just continue to rush over you. Yeah,
so true. So I've had some clients, and right now I have one relatively new client that tries to WhatsApp me now and then. And when that happens right now, the first thing that I say is, please do not WhatsApp me. This is my personal number. Yeah. It is not work related. Please use my email so I can prioritize my emails and, check in during the times that I check my email, and only call me if something broke down, or you need my help right now. But you do not want to sit on the couch during the evenings checking your WhatsApps, and you see like client messages coming in from, hey, how's this optimization going? How's this experiment running? I just checked the results and I think something broke and we have to zoom in. That is giving you instant stress levels. Instant. So that's something you want to teach your clients or teach your stakeholders not to do so right from the first moment. If you let them do that or let them cross your borders and you do not say anything about it, they will continuously go over that boundary and you will have a really hard time.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, it's the worst. The worst thing that you can have is that you have your phone and you're just checking some WhatsApps from friends, and then you see the client. Even just seeing the name of the client will already bump up your stress level because you know something is probably up. That's really annoying.
And also with these direct messaging apps like WhatsApp, but also like Slack and Discord.
Yeah, true.
People think or they really think that you will be responding in a matter of seconds, minutes, or even within 2 hours, because it's a channel where it is normally happening that way. So if you receive WhatsApp, it is generally a fact that you will respond within 2-3 hours. But that's what I despise about Slack as well. People think that it is an instant messaging platform and you will respond within within a matter of seconds. So you really have to explain this towards your stakeholders. Hey, these are my working hours. I'm checking my Slack, my Discord, my email 2-3 times a day. If it's really urgent, call me. If you just message me on all of the other platforms, I will come back with you within just 24 hours. And that's something that you have to communicate within the first moments of, signing a contract, for example. True. So you set expectations. Yeah,
man, totally agree. Yeah. And I don't have Slack on my phone when I work with clients in Slack. I do have Discord, but that's a different story. Like for our Discord, the PPC Mastery Discord, and our own Discord for us. Like, I don't care if you send a message at 11 at night, then it's totally fine. But I don't want to see Slack messages from clients that late at night. And I'm in my working hours, I'm with my laptop, so I just check it on my laptop always. Same with email. Although I also try to limit the conversations in email with my clients and just say, let's take this to Slack, or bigger updates we can do email. But I also hate just emailing back and forth, and that also definitely helps with reducing stress, like having less time that you need to be spending on those platforms like email, etc.
True. So zooming in on support systems and tools, do you use specific support systems, tools to keep you in check? So let's say you're planning your week, you're prioritizing your work. What kind of tools, apps, or technologies do you use or recommend that help you streamline your work and therefore reduce stress and or manage your time better?
I've tried a lot of different things. Like I said, I built a nice custom Excel template when I was working with 10 plus clients, and then in that Excel I would have different colors for the clients, and okay, this hour I'm doing that for the but I noticed that I'm way too chaotic to stick to it, so now I just I'm old school. I have pen and paper that I use Notion to keep track of the tasks that I need to do. And that's just about it when it comes to productivity systems. Because Dickie Bush also said, like, productivity systems are often just distractions or ways to keep you away from the thing that you actually want to and need to be doing. And now it helps. Like when I start my day, I just think about, okay, what do I need to do today? And then I write it down on my piece of paper. And then when I'm done with it, I just strike through. And then I know it's done, and then I keep track of that, like the bigger tasks in Notion. But you can make that as simple or complex as you want. But I try to keep it really simple.
Is it something you work out for yourself every single morning, or do you do it in the evenings prior to the day?
What I like to do now on Sundays, if I have time, if I'm just busy doing other stuff on Sunday, then I will do it on Monday morning. But usually on Sunday, I will just map out my week. I start first by looking at my calendar. Let me just pull it up, see what it says now. Then I have my gym blocks planned out. So gym plus break. That's actually the first thing that I make sure that I plan, because otherwise there's a chance that I don't do it. Then I check, okay, what meetings do I have? And then around that, what are the projects that I need to do right now for my clients for PPC Mastery? And then sometimes I schedule them on the days, depends. Sometimes I don't. And then I just look at day per day, what is the most important thing right now. And then every morning before I start, I just write it down on in my notebook that I have, like piece of paper, the top 3 or top 5 things that I want to do that day, and then work from there. So basically,
sounds really simple.
Basically, super simple.
Yeah.
Yep. How about you? Anything else?
Yeah, so I like to use Notion as well to prioritize my work. So I've created a specific Notion Kanban board for every single client that basically keeps track of all of the things that are in a backlog, that are in progress, that are blocked, that are completed, and some other customer related questions coming in that I have to come back at. So that's how I like to keep track of everything that needs to be done. Then I like to work in calendar blocks. So I have a really structured day and a really systematic way of working and planning. So that's something that I learned at my last agency that I worked with. We had a great project manager, and she actually planned the work for us in blocks of at least 2 hours within a day. So some clients had a block of 2 hours, some had a block of 4 hours. Well, and it was basically decided on the amount of hours they paid for, obviously.
So then she planned those blocks for you.
Yeah. She planned it for all of the Google Ads specialists.
Oh, nice.
So basically we didn't have to plan at all. We just started our days, and we knew what clients to work on. And within those blocks, of course, we had our own prioritization, and we had to decide where to work on, but we knew what client to work on. And during the blocks, we could not be distracted by the sales team, by incoming calls. She picked up the phone and she said, okay, Bob is working for a different client right now, but he has you planned over 2 days. Is it urgent? Yes, then I will redirect you to Bob, and he will answer the phone. If not, he will call you back in 2 days.
Wow.
So that was the best work week I ever had working for a business, and everyone was basically happy. So right now I still use that system. So when a new client comes on board, I instantly tell when I'm going to work for the account and when I am reachable. So for example, right now I have a bigger client that I'm working every single Monday afternoon for about 2 or 3 hours. They know that I'm working on the account every single Monday afternoon. So if they want to call with me, if they want to sit down, if they want to discuss results, if there's something urgent, they know they can reach me on Monday afternoon between 1 and 4, so to say. If an email with a request is coming in on a Wednesday or a Thursday, they know that I will pick up the mail or the request the next Monday.
Yeah.
And that's something that I made really, really clear during the onboarding phase. And by implementing that inside of my work week, that gave me so much rest, and basically set the boundaries for all of the clients that I work with.
And then, so let's say they have a request on Wednesday, and then you say, okay, I will do it on Monday. Then you said you made that really clear in the onboarding process of how you work, and they were just fine with it. They understood.
Yes. Yeah. And if not, they have a problem and they have to find someone else. But then that's just how I work.
Yeah, it's just setting the expectations then, and then it's okay. Because if you didn't do that,
be real clear.
Yeah, if you didn't do that, then they will send you something on Wednesday, and you will say, "I will pick it up on Monday," and they're like, "What do you mean on Monday? I need it now. I need it this week." But now you already have the agreements, you have the expectations in place, and then that's really nice, man. That's actually really
and it's
solid.
easy to explain because I always explain it like, "Hey, I have other clients as well, other stuff to do. I want to give everyone the attention it needs. So if I'm working for a different client and then a request from you is coming in, then you as a client wouldn't be happy if you were to switch accounts and were to work for a different client inside of a blocked calendar meeting that meant to be allocated towards a different client." So by explaining it that way, almost everyone understands it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really solid.
Yeah.
And for me also, support systems in terms of community or people. Of course, like every day, I go for walks with my girlfriend in the during breaks after work, and that helps settle it down. Of course, like family, we can talk about anything the stresses that we go through, and the community, Discord community, and the PPC hub. They are also nice because then sometimes, if something happens, you can just rant a little bit. And then, like, something stressful happened in your day, you just tell people, this happened, stupid this, stupid that, blah, blah, blah. And then then it's gone. So that also helps to...
stress relief.
Stress relief, exactly.
So looking at the time, Miles, let me ask you one final question.
Yeah.
What would be your advice for newbies, people just starting out in Google Ads, working for themselves or even in-house? What would you advise them in a couple of top 5 points?
So the first one is definitely take care of your health. So invest in good sleep well is probably the most important one. Eat well, drink enough water, work out, go outside a lot. Like not only go to the gym once, but also throughout the day, make sure that you go outside for walks, because then that helps to keep your brain and your body fresh. Let's see, more advice for newbies. Take time off frequently. And that means on the macro level, take holidays. For some people, this sounds so obvious, but some people almost never do it. So take your holidays. On the micro level, that means taking short breaks every day.
And do not bring your laptop.
On those holidays, yeah. That is a game changer for sure. Mm-hmm. You've noticed that, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so my first holiday without laptop was essentially 3 months ago? 2 months ago?
Yeah, 2 months, I think.
So in the last couple of 5-6 years, I always had my laptop with me every single holiday.
It was last month. It was in July.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
6 weeks or so.
It feels like 2 months already.
I know. But then on the micro level, like short breaks every day. Make sure that you don't sit behind your computer for 8 hours straight, but go outside, do some stretching, those kinds of things. Only do work you enjoy. And I know that if you're starting out, then this is sometimes you just have to swallow the pill in order to get where you want to be. And then sometimes you need to suck it up, but also sometimes you should say no and sort of fight back for what you want. So to give you an example, from when I started at an agency, of course they gave me my first couple of clients. I had no say in what they were, but I already knew that I wanted to get e-com clients. So from the first couple of one-on-ones that I had with my manager, with my mentor, I already said, my goal is to work with e-com clients. And then they said, now you have your portfolio. We cannot give you extra e-com clients right now, but maybe later. Then the next one, I will just after, I think I had a weekly or a monthly meeting with my manager. And every meeting, I was going to say call, but then it was all physical still. Every meeting, I would just say, it's still my goal to do e-com. If there's anything opening up, let me know. And then she would say, no, not right now, but maybe later. And then every time I would say it until they became so annoyed that they would just give me e-com clients. And then in the end, I got G-Star and all the other ones that I was working with back then. So not because they thought I was annoying, like, okay, we can shut them up, but also because sometimes people need to know what your goals and ambitions are, and then they can help you once it starts to open up. Like sometimes, of course, it's not possible to give you what you want straight away, and you need to prove yourself as a junior. But as I did that, and then let's say 1 year, 1.5 years into my job at the agency, I was having the portfolio that I wanted from the beginning, with really like nice clients that I learned a lot from. So, and then after you get more experience, you can start to focus more on the things that you actually want to do and that you actually do enjoy, or for at least, let's say 80% or so. And don't take no for an answer. Just always keep pushing for where you want to, and for what you want and where you want to end up. And fuck everyone who tells you no.
Yeah, and if you do not get what you want, then there are other employers as well.
Yeah, exactly. You can go other directions. So I think the last thing is just when it comes to dealing with stress in PPC, it's like get the reps in. And I don't mean the Google reps, but just the repetitions like you would in the gym. Because thriving in PPC is just a game of reps. And the more things that you see, more clients that you work with, the more problems that you encounter, the more stress that you will experience, the better you will be at dealing with those things as you get more experience. So
great final takeaway.
Cool.
So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. I think you dropped a lot of knowledge bombs in this episode, Miles.
And
so for everyone starting out, I think this is a great podcast to listen to. So in the next episode, or one of the future episodes, we do not know when this will be scheduled, we will zoom in on prioritizing your work and how to plan your day, how to plan your week, what to prioritize, what kinds of optimizations, what kinds of work. So I'm really looking forward to discuss that as well. So any final words, Miles?
Yes. So thanks to Thomas for his great question. If you have a question for us, just head over to ppcmastery.com/podcast. And then there's a link where you can submit your questions. And I'm sure that in some episodes we will use some of those questions, try to answer some of those for you guys. And that's it. So thanks for watching. If you're viewing on YouTube, we appreciate it. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next episode.
See ya. Ciao, ciao.
Peace.